Feast in the Middle East is basically an offshoot, a way for me to preserve the traditions within my family, pass it on to my children, and it ended up being passed on to a global community.
Yeah, that you've done so many things in your life, like reporter. You also did producing and tech reporter beside journalist and host for television and CNN. So can you tell us about your experience? How wonderful was that?
Yes, I would say TV is a mixed bag. You definitely don't go into television because you want to have a very lucrative, high-paying job. Not everyone's like Rachel Maddow making millions of dollars a month. I'll never forget when I graduated and I even got my master's in journalism. And what I ended up doing was doing a lot of internships that were non-paid or paid very, very little. And my dad was like, "You're making $4.50 an hour. What's wrong with you?" He's like, "You graduate, you got your master's. Why? Why are you making such little money?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I'm passionate about telling the truth." Because when I was a kid, my parents would always throw stuff at the TV and get mad at the TV because they said that it was just full of lies. And as a kid, I thought, if I get inside that TV, I can tell the truth.
I think that's typical Palestinian family,
right? I mean, every family, especially Arab family, every Arab family has probably thrown a shoe at that television set, right? I bet you're watching. You've thrown a shoe at that TV set. Don't throw one at us, though. So
I didn't know you were that funny too.
You're
so funny.
So yeah, that's how it all began,
cute.
really.
That's cute. We should have your father as a guest also.
Oh, he's a riot. My dad.
He's
gonna tell on you all the secrets.
He's a riot.
Doing this switch and doing all this thing you've been through, the journalism and the television business, what did you bring to the food business? What are you with your cooking and with your ideas?
Right. So, when you watch Food Network or any of those networks, they don't really have much of any ethnic cuisine. It's mainly American cuisine, which is understandable, but the most they venture out is to Italian food. And people love Middle Eastern food, as you know, right? When you cook, people go bananas, probably. You go to any Middle Eastern restaurant, the lines out the door here in Silicon Valley.
Very true, very true.
Yeah. So I'm like, come on, we need to make Middle Eastern food accessible. So as you know, a lot of our food can be very time consuming to make. My grandmother would take 4 hours to make a pot of stuffed grape leaves. And I'm like, I got to streamline the process. My generation, we don't have time to do this. So how do I create shortcuts so that they could retain the flavor, keep the culture alive, the tradition alive, but not spend the whole day in the kitchen? And that was really my mission from the first day, was how to make it accessible to not just Arabs, but to Americans, and make it simple and easy for them.
That was the message behind your show.
Absolutely.
That's the whole idea.
Definitely.
But why did you call it Feast in the Middle East?
That's a very good question.
A secret.
You know.
I'm getting into your secret.
You're getting to the secret. So there's always a saying, peace in the Middle East, right? Peace in the Middle East. Well, I thought feast in the Middle East rhymes with peace in the Middle East. And I figured when people are gathered around a dining table, you can't fight with one another, or at least you shouldn't. It's a great way for people from different backgrounds to bond. And really, when you taste someone's food from someone's culture, you understand that culture a lot more. So I thought, this is a great way to endear Americans, help them understand where we come from. We're a hospitable culture. We love sharing our food. And this really came at a time when our people were being villainized on mainstream media. And I was sick and tired of it. I'm like, you know what? Food is a great conduit to bring people together and to dispel a lot of stereotypes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you mentioned your dad. Now we want to mention your mom.
Sure.
I'm one of your fans, and I follow your channel.
Thank you.
I like all your recipes, and I've tried a few of them. But I see your mom on the show sometimes.
Yes.
Can you tell us what's her role and what does it? How does she help you?
She was my inspiration in chief. Like when growing up, I loved her food. And when friends would come over, they wanted to come over 1,000 times because they're like, please, can we have your mom's food again? It's so good. And I thought, wow, I would love to keep her recipes alive, and alive through my children. And she was the one who, when I came up with my first crazy idea, my mom was like, just go for it. You know, everyone else was like, no, you're a journalist. You're a journalist. You shouldn't be dabbling into the food industry and cooking. But my mom always told me that the impossible is possible. And she's always been my cheerleader and always inspired me to reach beyond my wildest dreams. And so this show is really dedicated to her. The cookbook is
what was her
dedicated to
secret?
Her secret?
I mean, did she like to feed people? Did she like to eat?
To host
What is it?
people?
She
was
loved
generous?
feeding people and hosting people. Plus, she had an insatiable appetite for knowledge when it came to food. So it wasn't just Arabic food. She would make Hungarian goulash one day. She'd make a Chinese stir fry another day. She exposed me to French cuisine and all the French pronunciation because she's quadrilingual. She speaks 4 languages, including French and Spanish. She grew up in Venezuela, taught me all about arepas. So my mom is really into, she was foodies before foodies were cool. You know, she was like a total foodie.
Whoa.
So she instilled that passion in me, and I wanted to keep it alive.
Well, she's very interesting. We're going to bring her on the show too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she would be great. Yeah.
We'll bring her by herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no more competition between mom and
No,
daughter.
no. You have her.
sure about this.
I would be happy to stand as the wallpaper with my mom around.
But
That is amazing.
so
Very
tell me,
interesting.
how did you get to have this fusion between East and West? And it's a really, really beautiful fusion, and it takes lots of knowledge and balance. So to get make a recipe mix between these two different.
And you seem to be doing it right.
Well, I hope so, at least. Well, you know, it's really a way to endear people to new ingredients. So, for example, Lebanon cheese. So Lebanon cheese is a kefir cheese, but I thought, why not make a cheesecake with it? Because Americans know what a cheesecake is, but why not use an unconventional cheese and bring a little bit of tartness and bring some probiotics into the mix? Because, you know,
make it healthier.
Yeah, like Lebanon cheese is more healthy than cream cheese.
Yeah.
It's more of a whole food. It's got fewer weird ingredients.
So you're
in
going
it.
on the healthier way.
Definitely,
side.
definitely,
Just
absolutely.
You approach it to
Very
the
good you
American
mentioned
people.
that, because I could take bakla or baklava and turn it into baklava granola without all of the butter and all the sugar. That way you could enjoy a little bit every morning with your yogurt and not feel so guilty about
Oh
it.
my
Wow.
God.
You know?
That's
So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
So
I'll make that for you next
what
time.
inspired?
We'll be happy.
So you create new recipes and you create new ideas and
Yes.
you mix the East with the West.
Yeah.
So what's the motivation? How do you get motivated to do all this and the inspiration? Where do you get it
Yeah,
from?
that's a great question. A lot of the inspiration comes from the farmer's market and from our unique ingredients. So whether it's rose flower water, some fresh pistachios, some pomegranate molasses.
The ingredients.
You know, the ingredients
Wow.
are so unique to our culture and they shine in so many different ways. So I did a series where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 4 videos on pomegranate molasses. And I'm going to use it as a marinade for chicken. I'm going to use it in a dessert. And I'm going to use it as part of a salad dressing. And just show the versatility of our ingredients and how Americans can, and it's very
So
inexpensive.
that's
And, you know?
It's easy to do.
That's
It's
wonderful.
The ideas
Right.
together.
You got an ingredient and you use it in different ways,
Yes.
in different dishes, and you create new recipes.
Exactly.
Great,
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
So, you know, something smells really good here.
Yes.
And I start to feel hungry. You need to explain
Yeah.
to me what's going on here.
Yeah, I always have to travel with food. It's like